Welcome to another episode of Two Chefs in the Dock, where one half of the slave food team is joined by two phenomenal chefs, Chef Cynthia and Chef Heather. My name is Columbus Batiste, and I am the Healthy Heart Doc. And it's a pleasure to join you again when we begin to cook up your health. And so I'm joined by first Chef Cynthia, celebrity chef. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. And we're also joined by the second chef, Chef Heather, Chef Mommy.
Hey, everybody.
It's good to see both of you. For those of you who are joining this show for the first time, my name is Columbus Batiste. I am also known as the Healthy Heart Doc, and I'm one half of the Slave Food Project team, doctors. And my mission is to really change your health so you don't have to ever come and see me. And so I'm such a pleasure to join forces with these two powerhouses. These women, these chefs, are phenomenal women in and outside the kitchen. And Chef Cynthia, the celebrity chef, tell us about yourself and your why you're here.
Well, my name is Chef Cynthia Pan, or CC Pan. I am a plant-based chef who celebrates the African diaspora through my cooking. I look at the continent of Africa and the cultures that have come out of it and how they have influenced world cuisine, how our foods, our traditional foods, are actually healing foods. And so part of my mission is to expose people to that, especially people that are part of the African diaspora, because we overwhelmingly, our community is suffering and dying because of diseases that are created by what we eat. So if we can usher in disease by eating, we can usher out disease by what we eat as well. And so that is my mission, and that's what I do.
Love it, love it. Chef Mommy, how about you?
My name is Heather Martin. I am 1/3. You probably have seen me sing, part of a gospel girl trio called Virtue. And I'm really excited about the stage that God has given me to sing on and to perform on now. It's quite different from singing. However, I've been blessed with 4 beautiful children who happen to have really severe allergies to dairy, eggs, nuts, fish, all of those things. And so haphazardly, I had to transform our diets and transform the way that we were living to accommodate their needs. And in the process, one of my kids coined me the Chef Mommy. And it just so happens that all of the things that they were allergic to, I decided, you know what, I am going to try the vegan lifestyle. And at home, they will eat vegan things that are safe for them. So my why is because I love my children. I want to spread the news about food allergies and how, serious they are, and then just make this world a more friendly, kind place for people with food allergies by introducing foods that are safe, but also because they're kids, I want them to be fun and tasty and good to eat. So that's my why, and I'm really happy to share this platform with both of you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Both are so important. And you guys have joined forces, right, for today. And so you have some special things planned for us. So tell us what you guys have planned for us.
Well, today, Heather and I are highlighting grains. And I think that this is great because, well, first of all, carbs get a really bad rep.
Yes.
And there are very healthy carbs to eat. And so both of us are going to be highlighting those healthy carbs today and introducing people to grains outside of rice and outside of, your everyday thing. There's so many grains on the market. Ancient grains is something that I'm sure you're going to hear over and over again from us. In Africa in particular, there are grains that are naturally gluten-free, high in protein, high in fiber. So that's what we're going to be doing today, showing you how to incorporate these grains into your diet, to your menus.
Love it. I love it. That's perfect. Because one of the things is, you're right, carbs get a bad rap. And I always tell my patients, I say, you know what? It's not about carbs, it's about garbage. You want to get the garbage out your life. The garbage that's like garbage. That's all the ultra processed refined foods that get labeled under carbohydrates, and they are, but we're talking about complex, rich, filled with fiber and all the nutrients that you need to kind of propel your health. So this Two Chefs in the Dock is all about the health. It's all about the flavor. It's all about maintaining your culture and your family together. So let's get at it.
Hey.
All right, who's up first? So, Cynthia, you're gonna start us off.
I'm going to use that one. That's a great one. So today I am going to be using farro. I think that I may have used farro before on one of our episodes, but the reason why I love farro is because it is such a hearty grain. I have caught farro with chopped up sun-dried tomatoes, and it almost takes on like a meat-like texture. It's a really grain to have. You can add a scoop of it to your soup to make it more substantive. You can put it on top of salad to make it more substantive. You can eat it on its own. It's just really good. But before I went into that, I did want to talk a little bit about some of the other grains that I don't know what Heather is going to be preparing today. We kind of each other when we do these, but I just wanted to talk really quickly in particular about fonio, because fonio is an African heritage grain, and it is also called an ancient grain. So when you call something an ancient grain, it lets you know that it's been around for thousands of years and it has not been messed around with like a lot of these grains have. So it has robust amino acid profiles. I have two, and it's naturally gluten-free. And because of the amino acid profile, it has a lot of health benefits in addition to improving blood sugar management. And as I've talked about people of color, blood sugar is an issue that a lot of us deal with. So this is a grain, if you see it, it almost looks like sand. It is super, super, super fine. I'm just gonna lift it so you can, it literally looks like sand. What's great about that is it lets you know it cooks very, very quickly, similar to couscous. It has a really nutty, unique flavor.
So is it kind of like grits? Is it like grits?
Not like grits. No, it's not like grits. It's like a really, really fine couscous.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can buy it online, there's a great chef out of Senegal who has led this charge, and he sells this on. You can buy it at Whole Foods. You can buy it on Amazon. Okay, so that's one of them. The other one is a cracked wheat, which is really great. It's a really hearty wheat. I love to cook with wild rice because wild rice is actually a grass. It's not rice. So your body metabolizes it differently as well. Of course, we have quinoa, which is all the rage. And then finally, we have our farro. So what I like to do with my grains, here are a couple hints of how to incorporate flavor without using a lot of salt. First thing I do is I prepare my grains in light, low sodium vegetable broth. I begin my flavor profile with cooking it in a low sodium vegetable broth. And I do things like drop in thyme. I drop in rosemary.
Yes.
A couple cloves of garlic that I just smashed. Heather has talked about throwing in a whole onion, and you get that flavor in there. So what I would do is I would cut some slices of onion and just put it in there and let all of that flavor boil into your grains, so that when you're adding to it, you really don't have to add much. You've got such a great foundation for your flavors. And then if you do add any salt, it literally is just a touch of salt at the end to bring everything together, but it is not like an integral part of the dish. So what I have done, I have prepared my farro, and I did it in the vegetable broth. And then after I did that, I just put it in a colander just to drain off any extra liquid. And I'm just gonna drop this in the bowl. What you will see here is I have all kinds of herbs. And this is another way to create a lot of delicious flavor. I have cilantro, I have parsley, I have green onions, celery, I have fresh basil, mushrooms, all of these things. When you make dishes like this, just go for it. Go for it. Whatever your favorite herbs are, chop them up and throw them in here. I love to always add some fresh lemon zest. It brings a brightness to the dish, and it actually adds some flavor too. Lemon rind and lemon juice. So today, I've talked so much. Let's get going. I'm just going to chop up some celery, and we've talked before about it's important to, to cut things up evenly so that when you eat them, when you cook them, and when you eat them, it's well combined. Now, for me, we've also talked about how I don't mind things being raw. I don't mind raw veggies mixed in with my stuff. So somebody else may want to cut these things up and put them on the stove for a little bit, get some heat underneath them. You're welcome to do that, but I'm putting mine straight in my bowl. So that's like a half a stalk of celery. I'm gonna take some mushrooms. I love
it.
If you're not a mushroom
Mushrooms are great. I mean, it's one of the few plant sources where you're going to get some vitamin D. We know it has huge benefits for cancer fighting, especially for women. The celery helps get like your waste some of the fluid. It has what we call a diuretic effect. So that's the crazy part, is that all of these things all have medicinal purposes, but they also add flavor to your palate, and that's the cool part about watching you cook.
And adding to what you said about celery, a lot of people use celery to give it their food a saltiness.
Yes.
So that's another way for us to give more flavor without having to use salt. So we have done some celery, we did some mushrooms. I'm going to do some sweet baby bells here. That's going to go in there. And the other thing that I love about this is look at the colors that you're bringing in. Look at the colors.
Yes.
We talk about eating the rainbow, and it is a hint that you're going in the right direction with your food when you're seeing these beautiful colors. These bell peppers, I'm sure Doc will let us know, they have lycopene, they're great for heart health. All of this stuff is just wonderful. So go ahead, Doc.
No, keep going on. I see you pulling out, where are those, scallions or green onions?
Scallions in here. This is a really quick dish. And again, you just pull out whatever you have in your refrigerator, in your vegetable drawer. I'm going to put some parsley in here. So this is going to kind of have a little bit of Mediterranean flavor to it, because I'm not going to use parsley, but I'm going to use a little bit of mint.
Love mint.
Mint is such an unexpected flavor in something like a salad.
Yeah.
So we're going to so we've got the parsley. Now I'm going to grab some of this mint.
Yeah, that's this. I'm going to tell you, this is the cool part, is that when you start to move away from some of the boxed and canned foods that are just surrounding us, all about us, and you actually start to cook real alive foods, the aroma and the taste and the flavors begin to explode in your mouth. So even as you're calling this out, my memory is just kind of like layered over the past number of years, and I can taste some of these ingredients. And the crazy part is, just like the commercials that show like the burgers and everything else, my mouth is starting to water as I'm listening to you describe what's going on inside this dish right now.
So you're absolutely right. So I've got my parsley, I've got mint, celery, bell peppers, I've got mushrooms, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some lemon rind. Just going to put it directly in there. Like I said, it adds a little bit of brightness to the dish. So that's probably about a teaspoon's worth of lemon rind. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over this. And somebody might say that this is like a spring salad or a summer salad. I think these things, delicious is delicious year round. So
That's right.
I don't buy into that. So this is basically done. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to do a drizzle of heart-healthy olive oil. Just a drizzle. Right over the top of it. And just going to mix this together.
Now, could someone use like a vinegar or a wine vinegar on there or a white vinegar inside of there?
Absolutely. You want something acidic, so
Hmm.
that's why I'm using the lemon juice, but you could use vinegar. Absolutely. There's some great vinegars out there. There's one that I love in particular that is ume vinegar. It's made from the umabushi plum. It's a Japanese vinegar, and it's really, really delicious. It has a umami, like a real rounding flavor to it. You can use that. I love using fresh lime. I use fresh lemon. I love using Meyer lemon because Meyer lemon has this really almost floral flavor to it. But this is it. This is our
Love
dish.
it.
That's
Wow.
beautiful.
Yes, colors are popping. Colors are popping in there. That's great and simple. It seemed very simple and easy to go ahead and put together. And one of the things I'm gonna mention some things about the fiber in a bit at some point. But one key thing is everyone's always asking about, where do I get my protein? Where are you getting your protein from? And the real question has to lie in where you're getting your fiber. Are you getting fiber on a regular basis? And we know that Americans are fiber deficient. And one of the most interesting things that we just learned about this past January is that the fiber, and we've known this for a while, fiber actually feeds what's called your gut microbiome, the
Yes.
bacteria inside your gut. But here's the thing with COVID. Studies have shown that you're less likely to have impactful symptoms or manifestations when you have diversity of this microbiome or bacteria. Now, the only way that you can get diversity is by having fiber, having vegetables and things of that nature inside of your diet. So this dish right here is truly arming you to really get those things in, while at the same point in time is giving you the protein, it's giving you the new micronutrients too as well with the vitamins. And so powerful dish you just prepared there.
It is, and that's why it's so important to have you talking about this because it is delicious. But food is truly our medicine. We are shown how to arrest disease, how to prevent disease, how to fight disease while eating. Like, that's wonderful. Who doesn't like to eat?
Yes, yes, yes. So Cynthia, before we move on to Heather's preparation, a question came over is, can you go without the oil when you're preparing this dish? For those of them.
Absolutely. I put it on as a drizzle at the end just for a little bit of that flavor, but you don't have to use oil at all. There's no oil in the preparation of this. I simply use some low sodium vegetable broth. You can forego it altogether and it will not impact your flavor one bit. You'll still have a delicious dish. But for people that are looking at a healthy way of incorporating monounsaturated fats, just a little sprinkle of this on it.
All right. All right. Very good. Love it. Love it. Chef Mommy, what do you have for us? Hey.
So this time, guys, I'm really excited about this because dealing with kids with food allergies, grains are a big deal, and seeds and all that stuff. I just have to make sure that when I am picking a grain for them, so oftentimes people with food allergies have to be really, really careful because sometimes things are processed in the same facility as nuts or something that they may be allergic to. So I really had to do my research on this one and grow my brain in the area of grains because I tiptoe with my children on introducing new things into their diets. And the one grain that we rely on besides having, we can do all kinds of rices. They are typically safe, but you still read. And if you have a gluten allergy, you still have to be very, very careful if that rice was grown in the same place where gluten might have been grown or is not typically, not gluten-free. So there's so much to learn about grains. I just thought I went to Whole Foods and I grabbed a couple and I did a little bit of research on which ones are safe for you if you are gluten-free and if you can have gluten. And thankfully my kids can have gluten, but I still try to do it in moderation. So like Cynthia said, one of the top other grains besides like rice and pastas, there's so many different kinds of pastas out there that you can try that are gluten-free, that are just giving your palate a break from the normal wheat and flour. But these are a couple that I grabbed, and this is one that I will use today. Today, I'm going to make something that's fun. I decided, you have to make something fun for kids to try and get them. Where I grew up, we always ate, we did stuffed peppers and sometimes stuffed tomatoes in New Orleans.
Yes.
I really love stuffed peppers. The one thing I didn't like growing up, like we always talk about, is how mushy some people would cook them. My mother would never make them mushy. Like some people will drop them in some boiling water and then cut them open and then bake them and just take all the life out of them. So we're not going to do that today, but to make it a little fun for kids, I call them, we're going sailing, we're going to have some boats. And so these are the most beautiful long peppers. When you cut them open, we're going to stuff them, and I tell them we're going to have some boats today. And so it always works. And so we're going to stuff our boats with some grains that we don't usually eat. We typically here stick to like quinoa, but today and this week I've been testing them out on my kids prayerfully. And a couple grains that I want to tell you about. One, I hope I pronounce this right. This is called Frika. It is one that it is a short. This is wheat, so this is not gluten-free. It's a short grain wheat that is picked while it's still green, and it's also an ancient grain. So, like she said, it's not like Cynthia mentioned. It hasn't been tampered with and overly processed. That's why they call them ancient grains. Another one that most people might be familiar with, if you've ever eaten at an Ethiopian restaurant, Teff. This is brown Teff, and you can kind of see it looks kind of red. Last night I tried to use it. I've discovered you definitely, if you want to use Teff, use the flour, don't use the seeds. These seeds, I've toasted them and roasted them. I discovered that they make great toppings for like yogurt, like coconut yogurt in the morning with some fruit. If you toast it just a little bit and put it on top, it's amazing. It's a little bit of a crunch and it's yummy. But if you want to use it as something to bake with, you need the flour definitely, and you can mix it. It's a little bit drier than regular flour, so I wouldn't say 1-to-1. But check my page. I'm gonna post a recipe with some Teff biscuit. I was gonna say the Ethiopian. If you eat out at Ethiopian restaurants, the bread that you've eaten, it's made out of Teff. Did somebody say something?
Injera bread.
Yes, injera bread. And the next one I want to tell you about is Amaranth. And this one, I did the same thing with toasting it, and my kids just loved it on top of, you can sprinkle it on top of smoothies just for an extra boost. And this one is also gluten-free. Brown Teff is gluten-free, and this one is gluten-free as well. This one is Kamut. And I might pronounce that one wrong too, but or Kamut. This is really yummy, guys, but this is also wheat. So if you're gluten-free, but we toasted this one, and this has big grains. So you could use this to like put it in some granola. My kid, I toasted it and he just ate them like a snack, which was really tasty. You could probably sweeten it or make it savory. And the two that I'm going to use today, this one I don't have labeled. This, I just labeled them for my sake. This one is millet. My sister is big on grains. Her name is Dion, Red's Kitchen Sink, and she's taught me so much of what I know about healthy living and food and thinking out of the box. She eats millet, and I'm sure, people across all different countries have millet for breakfast. It's kind of like a porridge. You can make it into kind of like grits. The way we eat grits, you can eat it with sugar or, sweeten it or have it savory as well. And you can bake with it. Today, I've cooked with it like rice, and I've used these two like rice. So I want to tell you, I'm trying to rush so it doesn't take me too long to show you. So what I did today, I used, it's so funny, a lot of the same ingredients. And I'll turn my pot on for you here. You can use, if you're trying to stay away from oils too, totally like what Cynthia said, you can do this with broth. But the first thing you want to do is decide which grain you want to put in your peppers, right? You can do this with quinoa. You can do it with any grain that suits your fancy. I recommend buying them like I did and trying them. And when I did this Frika, it has a really nutty it almost tastes like it's already seasoned without putting anything in it. And when I boiled these two, I made them like rice, 1 cup to 2 cups, 1 cup of the grain to 2 cups of water. And then I did that separately. And so now what we're gonna do is, I don't know if you can see, my husband was here for a second and he's on call today. So he had to leave me, and that's my help for the day. But I took
You're doing great, by the way.
What'd you say?
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yes, fabulous, fabulous.
Thank you. So I took 1 onion, a white onion, and I chopped that up. And I'm gonna saute all of these things. Celery, we know all the good things about celery that they mentioned earlier. And because we're having bell peppers, it doesn't eliminate the fact that I want to taste it in a different way in the filling. So I'm gonna put bell peppers anyway in there. I put bell pepper, and of course our favorite mushrooms just add so much flavor. I would eat mushrooms, I don't know, in everything that I make if I could, if my kids would allow me. The other thing, so I'm gonna just let this saute a little bit. After you saute this out and it gets a little soft, you want to add, I use something different this time. I use some tempeh, and tempeh is just fermented soy. And so it's easier for people to digest, I find, with my kids. And I know the doc probably wants to jump in and say something about this tempeh, so I'll let him.
No, I mean, you know what? Listen, tempeh and tofu, actually, many folks are fearful of it, but it actually provides huge health benefits for you, and actually is very protective. Many studies have shown, the Evidence Health Study and many others, showing a protection as it relates to prostate cancer, protection as it relates to even when you're looking at breast cancer. And so when you look at the receptors, you have alpha receptors and beta receptors for estrogen-like issues. And so the plant-rich phytoestrogens are really attacking they accentuate the beta, which is like breaking disease. It's stopping it. And so there's a huge benefit by this. And one of the things that I noticed from like what you're putting together is you're making it like a meaty-like texture. So having that combination of the mushrooms and the tempeh together, you're creating this texture that people will be reminiscent of, but yet it's providing the health benefits. So this is looking good, looking good.
Awesome. And I wanted to mention something that I learned from my sister too about mushrooms. She said sometimes to activate things, you need to sit it in the sun. So if you have some mushrooms and you want to really get that vitamin D activated within those mushrooms for the health benefits, sit them out in the sun for a few minutes before you cook them.
Wow.
And so that's what I have done today. And what I'm really going after is a meat. A lot of people, when they make this, they use like a ground beef or some kind of ground turkey, or even in New Orleans, they use seafood. But today we're gonna get that texture with the with the tempeh. And I'm just taking my little masher to mash up the tempeh, and it will become like a ground meat. And the other things that I have, of course, I'm gonna show you what the millet looks like once you cook it. And there's so many substitutions. Millet is so close to the taste of rice. If you're trying to trick your kids into having something different that is gluten-free and yummy, look how pretty that is. Try millet. And it still tastes like, you know, it has that rice-like flavor and texture, rather, to me, that won't, you know, break the bank on doing it. So I'm gonna throw that in there, the millet with it as well. And today I tried both of them. I won't use them at once, but I did them. I tried the Frika and that, but I thought my kids might be more kind to the millet. After that, you just want to season this up with stuff that you love. I also have some little bitty tomatoes. You see those tomatoes? My kids get a kick out of these tiny tomatoes. They're called sprinkles. So I put them in there, and I kind of, if they see the whole tomato, it's enough. So I also mash it and just have the flavor of those fresh tomatoes in here. And at the end, I also have some scallions that I'm gonna put in there. And I have some seasonings. I have garlic powder, onion powder, cayenne pepper, parsley, all of that. And some, you can use I'm trying to rush and not forget to tell you.
Don't rush. Don't rush. Don't rush.
Okay.
Let the
I
flavor
want you
settle
guys
in. I
to
love
know that don't skimp on the flavor, and the flavor is in. It's not always infused in meat. Meat wouldn't taste good if they didn't use like all these herbs and stuff to make the meat taste good. So season your vegetables the way you would season your meat, and I guarantee you, you will not miss a beat. And people will probably ask you, "Is there meat in this?" And then I have like an all-purpose seasoning as well that you can put in there. If you want it hotter, you can put, things that go to your liking. And at the very end of sauteing this, I'm gonna put grab a bunch of fresh parsley and fresh basil. And I throw that in there just for the flavor. I also put some vegan mozzarella cheese in there. And you let that melt a little bit. And that is essentially what you're gonna do. Now, when you take these little boats of yours, you wanna you wanna find which side is gonna sit flatter in your pan. And then, so I see that this is the flatter side of this pepper. I'm gonna just cut right on top. And I'm looking for a knife next to me, but I'll tell you, so you'll get it. I'm gonna cut right on top, slit, but don't slit. This looks pretty if you leave it. And don't go into this part of the pepper. Go in there, take out all of the pulp and the seeds with your hands. Then you want to give your pepper a nice little spray of oil, or not, if you're trying to watch your fats. And maybe just a little bit of, I put a little bit of cayenne pepper because I like it hot. After that, you're gonna just stuff it with this. And if it suits your fancy, I just forgot to do this with those. I also mix some vegan Parmesan together with some breadcrumbs that are gluten-free, to keep it gluten-free or not. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And then you're gonna pop it in the oven at about 400 degrees. You wanna start with some foil on top so that they'll get a little bit soft, but you don't wanna cook the life out of them, right? So I'm gonna show you what they end up looking like, and it's just incredible. They are beautiful. Can you see those peppers?
They are.
Yes.
I topped
wow.
them with the cheese, and I forgot to put the breadcrumbs on top. And then you can finish it again with more parsley and basil just to make it look incredible and make everybody feel like they have to have something. Now, this is a big boat for a little kid. So you can tell them, let's share the boat. And you can cut it in halves if you like, but if you're an adult, you need to eat the whole boat. It is very, very good for you. And I think you'll want to eat the whole boat. It is incredibly delicious. This is it sounded like it was a bunch, but let me tell you something. You want to take time to cook for yourself, to cook for your family. Everything is not meant to be quick and fast. And I'm not gonna lie and tell you that it's always gonna be easy for you to eat healthy. It may take some chopping vegetables. Invest in some things that will make your life easier in your kitchen. If you don't have what do you call it, guys? My brain is like mommy mush brain.
Food processor.
A food processor. Invest in a food processor if you can. It doesn't have to be top of the line. That will help you cut your veggies quicker. But don't skimp on making something that is good for you and that will make you feel better, because you don't want to go through all the work. At the end, when you're sick, then you'll wish that you had taken that time. So don't get sick. Eat as colorfully as you can and feed your children as colorfully as you can, no matter what their food challenges are. There are so many things out there to help you do better. And, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I also put a little bit of tomato paste in here just to have a tiny bit of tomatoey kick in there, but that's it.
I love it. I'm loving it, because I'm going to tell you what. My folks are from New Orleans. Yes. And so right now you're bringing back memories of these peppers that my grandmother and my mother make on a regular basis. And I love the recipe. I think the one thing that's amazing, and we'll get to Cynthia to kind of get her final prep with stuff, is the fact that both of you guys sat there and didn't even know what the other person was making. And a lot of the ingredients were the same. A lot of the health promoting ingredients are the same. The onions, the celery, the spices, all the things that really nourish the body. But more importantly, it just gives you that flavor, and it's giving you that satisfaction that you're longing for. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
And there are things that can be found at any local market. It's not like you have to go out of your way to find them. Bell peppers are everywhere.
That's right.
Now you can get them at your local grocery store. Parsley is as old as, it's something that I used to hate when I was younger, but now I have an appreciation for it. You can always find parsley. You can always find scallions. So what we are promoting and what we're encouraging you all to use are things that you have easy access to. And literally, as Heather showed, you can use any grain with those other ingredients to make the stuffed peppers or to make this grain bowl.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
Let me show you my finished dish.
Let's see it.
Yes.
So this is my finished dish.
Wow.
So we put I just put some sliced avocado on it and a lemon wedge. This would also be great with like some grilled tofu or even the tempeh that Heather used. Some grilled tempeh would be great on this. Then you would have a real nutrient and fiber and protein packed dish.
Love it, love it, love it.
Well, let me see. I can try and plate mine.
Okay.
On the side of mine, I made some. I had some leftover last week, y'all. I made some gumbo because I discovered that it was a tradition that I knew nothing of in New Orleans, that you eat gumbo's herbs before. Did you know about that, Doctor?
Well, we have gumbo all the time, but I didn't know when you're supposed to eat it. I just eat it when my mom cooks it.
Right. So this one traditionally in New Orleans is eaten on the Thursday before Easter, and it's really super healthy. It's like a pot of everything green you can find.
Wow.
So these are my leftover greens from my gumbo. It looks like it should say gumbo's the herbs, but Leah Chase says it's gumbo's herbs. So it's I have some collards and turnips and spinach and kale. I mean, literally, y'all. Cynthia, I was like, man, you put all of that in one pot of gumbo, but it was delicious. It was amazing. So yeah, and so
all those different bitters, say all those different flavors.
Yeah, it's like a cleansing something. So
I'm putting in a request for one of these cooking shows for you to demo that.
Yeah.
I'm asking, the Healthy Heart Doc is asking, can we get a demo of that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is some of that's left over. I just drizzled it with a little bit of avocado oil, and like Cynthia, I love over the vinegars. I prefer like all of the lemons and the limes, and even I'll sometimes use like orange, squeeze the orange juice over my salad. So this is what I'm gonna put as the base of mine. And then I think this is a meal all by itself. I think you guys will agree that it's enough. You don't need anything else. And you just put that boat and let that boat sail. And maybe if you have kids, you can stick like some kind of toothpick with a flag on it, which I'm probably gonna do.
Very cute.
And that's it, guys. I hope
you love it. Yeah. Love it. That's amazing. That's amazing. I don't know that my plating, when I try and make what you guys just made, is going to look as fabulous as what you guys put together. But I'm going to try my best. I'm going to the store. One thing I wanted to say is that one of the cheap ways I use when I'm putting things together, because I'm not as skilled with the knife as much as you all, is I'm going to sit there and I buy, sometimes it's a little bit more expensive, but I'll buy my onions pre-chopped. I'll buy my vegetables pre-chopped. I try and make convenience work for me. So for those of you out there who are sitting there saying, man, I don't have time to cook this up or cut and do all this, you have to make convenience work for you. And there are plenty of tools for you to be able to do that are inside the grocery stores there. What do you guys think about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I say go for it. Yeah. I got tempted to do that today, and then I could hear my mom in the back of my head like, girl, you can chop that yourself. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. So I mean, I want to let folks know is the fact that there is power in cooking in community. I mean, so the one thing that both of the chefs really showed us today is that this allows family time. Heather spoke about for her for her family, for her kids. Cynthia, I know you didn't really talk about it much today in terms of your cooking for different families, for different athletes and celebrities, and bringing them together in the kitchen. It's a way in which you can bring people together, and now you're connecting the emotions and the memories to health promoting foods that's going to tie people in a unique way. And so I think that in itself is so powerful. Now, when you mix in the power of fiber that's been shown to reduce heart disease, the power of fiber that's been shown to reduce cancer, the power of fiber that is going to really help your cholesterol, all these extreme benefits that will keep you away from people like me. That's where it's about. That's why we're doing what we're doing, right? Because I'm lazy. I don't feel like putting stents inside you. I don't feel like going in and doing that every single day wearing a lead suit and coming over. So when we can go ahead and we can engage, what we're doing is we're now making a slam dunk instead of a 3-point shot. We're now running in from the 1-yard line instead of trying to run in from the 50-yard line. Whatever your sport is, we're increasing the odds of your health. And that's the key. That's one of the keys.
Absolutely. And it's an honor. I mean, as chefs, what a greater responsibility, because you are preparing something that somebody is ingesting that's becoming part of who they are. So, it is a great and an awesome responsibility. And so for us, I mean, I really look at what Heather is doing exceptionally, because, when people have allergies, there's so much of our food sources are messed around with.
Yeah.
So what she's doing is even more so important, because she's helping you navigate through that. And a lot of times when your diet is so restricted, you end up eating things that taste like punishment. You eat just for sustenance, but not for pleasure. And so she is showing people how to avoid these allergens and enjoy your meal at the same time. So I think that's...
Oh, thanks, Cynthia.
Yes. Bravo.
Oh,
loving
you
it.
know what?
Loving
I appreciate you, because I remember when I first started doing this, Cynthia came to my house. I called her up like, can you please come and cook and share with the audience, my allergic people and everybody, one of your amazing meals. And you agreed to that. And that my kids have not forgotten those avocado egg rolls.
Oh, wow.
They are amazing. And so I just appreciate just being able to have people like that who are willing. It makes your life easier, because it helps to get the word out. As I'm sure you guys can hear my loud house. If you hear kids screaming in the background, it is my fault. I am so sorry. I have bribed them beforehand to be quiet, but
no,
threshold is small. Thank you.
That's real life. That's real life, right? And those kids, they're probably smelling that good food down there and getting hungry, and they're fighting over who's going to get first dibs to eat it. That's probably what's going on.
Man, I had to cook for them before this show started, so I made them some biscuits and grits and all of that to just like take over there.
No, this has been wonderful. I'm going to tell you that this is powerful. This is something that I'm sharing with my patients, is the work that you all are doing, and that this is powerful. I think I may have mentioned this before, but I had this older, elderly African-American couple, and unfortunately the man has suffered with many cardiovascular events, has had to have a defibrillator, which is to kind of keep his heart pumping from twitching and going into failure. And I was talking with them about eating healthy, and they were like, "Doc, man, if we could just, we just need to know how." We're willing. And we understand the importance. And so I referred them to you all. I referred them to check out your sites. I referred them to go and check this site out, because I think that this is so important, what you both are doing here. The sacrificing of your time to really give this information out to folks is powerful. So I'm appreciative of both of you guys. I'm looking forward to our next episode in May, and we'll hit the audience up. I want to encourage everyone out there who's watching, share this with someone else who may be hungry and needs to eat, because this food right here is on point. I'm telling you it is. But let's go round robin one last time and give your last thoughts to the audience as we wrap up this session here. It's been wonderful.
Okay.
Go ahead, Heather. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, don't be afraid to try new things. It's really, really hard sometimes to step out of your shell and step out of your box. And I always say this, but try new things. If you never, my sister told me that somebody said to her that they'd never tasted an orange before. And I want you to know, I'm gonna clown you a little bit, because when you become an adult, you have to leave behind some of those picky things that you didn't like when you were little. And I want to tell parents, you know, the things that you have an aversion to, or you are not willing or unwilling to try because you hated it growing up, you need to come back around and try it again, because you don't want to be in your 30s and 20s and 40s saying, I don't like that because I don't like the texture or whatever. Give things a second try. If you thought you hated it when you were growing up, maybe it was the way it was prepared. And I just want to encourage you to follow our pages, because you will get ideas for how to do things differently and how to make your veggies. Maybe give them a second chance. And the last thing I wanted to share with you guys that I didn't mention about this Teff that was pretty impressive when I did some research is that, ladies, it's a flour that you want to try. It helps you with like PMS and any of those symptoms you have, the monthly symptoms. It is a great, great flour to try something new or a different grain. Look up brown Teff and or just Teff, and you will find all the benefits, especially for women. I wanted to make sure that I said that to you. And I love y'all. Thank you for having me.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I will second what Heather was saying about trying things. Exposure. As you get older, expose yourself to things. I mentioned earlier that I didn't used to like parsley, but now I have rediscovered it and I have an appreciation for it. And when you're changing over your diet, the traditional American diet is super salty and super sweet. Yeah. And so when you're transitioning, you're going to want to bring in foods and flavors and spices and things like that to replace that. And that's where the herbs, et cetera, come in. But the good thing is you can retrain your palate. It is possible. And what we are doing is we are creating dishes that have, again, multiple layers of flavor, so you don't feel like you're missing out. You deserve it. Your body deserves it. Try it. Go to a place like Sprouts. You can buy things. You can try different seasonings at an ounce at a time. Just get out there and just be, you know, go out there and just, I don't know, I'm having a brain. Experiment. That's it. Go out there and experiment. Try these different flavors and these different grains. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to buy it. But there's so much out there. We're living in a world that really celebrates international cuisine in many, many ways. So we have access to all kinds of things that we didn't have before. Get out there and try it. What Heather and I have demoed today, you can use any grain. You can use all kinds of vegetables. Just try it. Just try it. And you will be surprised at what you can create. And you will be surprised at the difference that you're able to make in your health simply by what you're eating.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I think it's a perfect note to end on. We have to challenge our palate. Get outside the norm is what we have to in order to taste the rainbow. I'll leave you with this, what I tell patients all the time, and in my former cooking class pre-COVID, is I tell everyone, I said, listen, how many of you out there drink alcohol? Some hands would go up. I said, did you love the way alcohol tasted the first time you had it? I then would say, how many of you out there love coffee the first time you tasted it? And the hands would stay down. No one loved the taste of alcohol or coffee. But guess what? They kept doing it because they loved the way it made them feel, right? They love the way it made them feel. And so what I challenge you today is the fact that don't be averse to these old time things of saying, I didn't like this when I was a kid or whatever else. I want you to challenge your palate and try something new, a new vegetable. Try one of these new grains that they pointed out, as Cynthia and Heather mentioned. Try it out. Try these recipes. Reach out to them. Go to their website. Get Cynthia's spices. She didn't tell you about the spice she's holding back. So she got spices for y'all. She got spices for y'all. I'm telling you, right? Hit those spices up to make your dishes. Put that on. Let's see that. Get it up close. Spices. Love it. Yes. Yes. We have to support each other. Love it.
Right.
All right. So we want to hit those things up, start your day right. And listen, I want to see you all back here in a month. We'll hit you up with the date and let you know the time and everything else. Share this episode with your friends, with your enemies, with your loved ones. Encourage people to be the best version of themselves.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Until next time.